Hello.
What's up? What's up?
I think we're set. Let's see. Are you here upstairs?
Yeah, I am upstairs.
Let's see. Let's start off with. Oh, I have to apologize for last episode. So I lied to you. Because I did it again this past weekend. So you were saying. Let's see. Remember the body wash situation
Yeah.
last week? What was it? You were asking me, have I ever used your body wash? And I was like, no. But I was like, I have.
That's so petty to lie. That's so petty to lie.
I know. That's why I was like, why did I lie about that? But it was like no more than 20 times.
No more than 20
No more
times.
than 20 times. And I only use it once, a shower. And I have an explanation because when you were like gone in the summers, there was a whole body wash in the shower. So what did you expect me to do?
He said Target. He said I ain't gonna go spend that $3.99.
Well, because like there were times where I was like, I would run out of body wash, and then I would just like, I don't know what to do. Either use shampoo as body wash or just gosh, this real quick. And because I used it again this past weekend, I was like, I really did it again.
Boy.
It looked familiar. All right, just 21 times. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
This dude really just said, I just committed murder 21 times. I'm done now.
It's just 21 times. That's it. No more. But yeah,
I
I was like
wondering
listening back. I was like, why did I lie about that?
I was wondering why it smells so familiar in the shower. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I know this scent.
Yeah. All right. It's the Shi-Fi podcast, episode 64. Let me get an air horn. Oh nope, that's wrong. Never mind. Failed. Let's see. Shout to Spotify, Apple, not SoundCloud. Got Josh in the building. What's up?
Wait, hold on. Why you hating on SoundCloud?
Because they make you pay to upload a lot of content.
Yeah.
I'm not paying SoundCloud. Like I'm not. They like you have to pay. You have to start paying on SoundCloud when you reach more than 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's perfect for music, but like podcasts, that's like 5 podcast episodes, and so I'm not. And no one goes to SoundCloud anymore for podcasts. So yeah. What you been up to?
This week has been my recovery week. I've just been chilling.
Well, in other news, it's been a lot of racism in the streets.
Well,
yeah. Looking at Minneapolis in a new light. Thought it always snowed there. But yeah, R.I.P. George Floyd. Do you have any initial reactions?
did you see this morning that they arrested 3 or 4 CNN crew members?
I saw something about that.
Yeah, like they were just like reporting like this morning. It was about 5:10 our time, and they were just like doing their job, and they're like, the police were standing right in front of them because the streets were blocked off, and he was like, okay, if y'all don't want me to like give my reporting here, like I still have to do my job. Like tell me where I can go, and I will do my job. And so when he was asking me, he kept asking repeatedly. They arrested him. They arrested the initial reporter, the 2 cameramen, and the producer.
So weird.
My reaction of George Floyd. Honestly, it's sad to say, but I've become so numb to it. Like it just happened It happens almost every month now, and it's like sad. Like that's the reality we live in. And I hear people complaining about these rioters and these protesters, but these are the same people that were at the Capitol in Michigan last month. They were like, open up our country, and they have like the same guns, but it's just like when somebody else does it, they don't like it. So it's like it's a double standard.
Was that Detroit?
And, yeah, it was in Detroit. They went to the Capitol and they had like gun Capitol, and they were like, open up our country, it's time. Anyway, but also it's just like, man, like, what can you really do as a Black human being without always being in the scope of something? Like, people don't mind their business anymore. Like, prime example, like, you remember the guy, he was just like, hey, man, like, put your dog on a leash in Central Park. And she called the police. And I was like, he was just trying to help you. Like, I don't understand this. It's always like, we're a burden to them, or we're at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's like, no, you have a bad attitude. You have a bad worldview, and it's your fault. And if these people that are sitting on the sideline, they're just like, oh, we can't say everything's about like black and white, it's not about race. It's like, okay, then what else is it? Yeah, it's like, I guess it just gets like frustrating because like I had a conversation with Felix the other day, and I was like, like Felix wants to go to law school, so I was like, you want to be a lawyer, it's going to take you 7 years to do that, 4 years of a bachelor's degree, 3 years of law school, pass the bar exam. I was like, but these police officers, they can go through 2 months of academy, and they can get a gun and a badge, and like they can be set. It's like, obviously something needs to be retaught. Like there needs to be some more intensive training. There needs to be some more intensive background checks, some more intensive mental health issues that need to be screened before somebody becomes a police officer.
Yeah, like especially like I mean, I know a lot of them are very war-oriented, like PTSD and all that.
Yeah, they come from the military.
I wonder what the percentage of like veterans are police officers. Let's see. Yeah, the Target thing, I completely just missed out. I wasn't even on Twitter. I went to sleep like super early that night, and then I heard my dad was like, yeah, they like raided Target. And I was like, what? So I like got on Twitter at like noon the next day. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was just blown away by everything. But let's see. What was I gonna say? Oh, I mean, like a big quote. One second. Yeah, the numb part of it. Yeah, it's getting to that point, and I think it's getting to the point where it's like, oh, well, if they're not gonna do anything about it, then all right, time to go crazy.
Take your own hands.
I saw something was like, MLK has left the chat. Malcolm X has entered the chat.
Yeah.
I mean,
but like, if you think about it, like, although I don't necessarily like agree, like, like tearing up a Target or like they robbed a bank, they robbed a bank last night and like stuff like that. But like, if you think about it from a historical stance, peaceful protests, they've worked, but the most protests that have worked have been semi-violent, like the Boston Tea Party, the civil rights, when they were like, throwing fires in buildings and stuff like that. It's like, okay, if our government and our society isn't going to make changes, we're going to take matters into our own hands. And now the Department of Justice and all them are like, all right, we're making George Floyd like a top priority. They're tired of people. First of all, did you see what Donald Trump tweeted out last night?
Not officially. What do you say? Thugs or something? It's all thugs.
He said, yeah, he did say thugs in there, but there's a quote in there, and it's from I forgot where it's from, but it's like he's basically sending the military down to Minneapolis, which I expected. But it was like once the thugs start looting, we start shooting.
Man.
So basically, he said they pulling up to kill. They pulling up to murder.
I mean, I guess that's one way to stop looting. I mean, half of it is just, it's like half a protest, and then you know, half of them are just like goofballs that are just like trying to
They're just literally like, they sent the text, where you at? They said with the
Yeah, that's
it's okay, I'll be there.
so like, different sides look at different things towards that. So have the original policemen like been arrested? Like
Not to my knowledge. They've just been
meaning
let
like
go.
are they like in a area like a police like they have to be like are they at home chilling right now
Well,
or are they just like under what do you call it?
you talking
You
about
know,
administrative leave? You talking about administrative leave?
no, just like they're not behind bars, but they're just like being watched or like they're being monitored.
You talking about like being bonded out, like they're like got like an ankle monitor or something? Or?
I guess, yeah. Any type of surveillance.
So like as of yesterday, there are still no charges to the police officers. They're just at home. And the Minneapolis Police Department have been protecting the home of these individual officers.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The kneeling thing. I was kind of been hearing things like, so it's a tactic apparently to kneel, like to put your knee in the back of someone, like lightly. Did you hear about that? And so, yeah, this one was just straight up in the neck. Yeah, he kind of thought he could kind of get away with it, but there's cameras, so I'm like, come on, like let's see. Did they do anything last night, like rioting or?
Oh yeah, they burnt up the police precinct last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, the precinct. What is that technically?
Yes.
What is that technically?
So a precinct is like where you would go to like report a crime or like the police headquarters. Like
It's the actual headquarters.
Yeah, so it's like every area in the city has a certain precinct, and so like they went to go burn up one of the precincts.
Man. Yeah, with the whole numb part of it, yeah, that's a horrible feeling to have when you have in these type of situations. And I mean, there's let's see, a quote, not a quote, but like what do you call it? A wording, a phrase. There we go. A phrase that I've always kind of thought about that is extremely true is like, racism isn't relevant for it's very current for the past, it was still a thing 50 years, 60 years ago. But like now it's being recorded, now it's being caught easily. Anyone has access to like recording footage and all that, so it's easy to catch someone doing bad things. So I'm always like, racism never came back. It's just been there,
Yes.
like yeah, it's just it's still around. What does, I mean, you don't have to, but what does your mom or parents or old generation think about it?
I mean, they're obviously upset, and they are like, now basically what you said, like it's more like prevalent because it can be recorded, but it was like people think like this is like brand new or like it like died and came back. Like this is just been years. It's just been what they like to call it is just like under the bus racism. So like like in America, like compared to China, you can go over there and they'll be like, you can't get into this establishment because you're black. Still,
yeah.
So like here in America, it's like under the bus. It's like, okay, I'll be nice to you to your face as soon as you leave. I'm gonna talk to my son and be like, why'd you bring that black person to my house? Like blah 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 blah. But like now, authorities that are supposed to help protect us and serve for us are now taking advantage of us and taking matters into their own hands and their own jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they're like, the only way that you do this is one, you have to have more black police officers, more diverse in the police workforce. And like, they were like, I don't agree with them burning up the Target, but it's just like nothing's getting done. So like, you kind of have to resort to something new in order to get that attention and get that voice that hasn't always been heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're having a protest here in Houston this morning, started at 9:00.
Oh. Huh.
Yep. I hope they ain't burning up nothing, but we'll see.
See that a morning riot's interesting. A morning riots, yeah, that's wild. Yeah, you brought up something that is an extreme idea, but like, you know, just shoot it out there. I've seen this a handful of times of like a situation maybe of having set maybe black police officers going into majority black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
What have you thought about that idea? Like,
I think, okay, so like at the end of the day, like it's just human nature and it's not nothing like racist or like sinful or anything. It's just like you often feel more comfortable with more people that you see that look like you.
yeah,
So like it's just like a natural like fact. So I think that if you had more representation, like more black police officers in predominantly black neighborhoods or Hispanic neighborhoods or just in general, I feel like people will become a little more trusting of the police force because, you know, police officers have always been looked at as like that old white guy that wants to, you know, like get the black man. He's out there to get me. He's out there to stick me.
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, it's like if you have somebody who is younger or just black in general, like you'd be like, okay, like I'm more willing to talk and like trust that person, and then the relationship will be able to build and we'll be able to bridge this gigantic gap we have now. Because right now, the African American community does not trust police officers. Like we're teaching our kids, like, hey, like if you get stopped 10-2, like I've been taught now, and I'm guilty of it. I don't do it. Like put my wallet in the cup holder, so like I don't have to like reach for anything. Ask for permission to reach across into my glove box to get like the insurance. Like no sudden movements. Like yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Like you know,
yeah.
you're like white people and like other people groups aren't taught that way, but we're taught to like get out of that traffic stop alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, no other choice. I feel like, but
Yeah.
yeah, like take every precaution. I've always heard the whole, or like have your wallet and keys in your hand and have
Yeah.
it 10-2
Right.
thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that's the only like that's the most safest thing you can do.
Right. Because like, you know, like there's been incidents like I can't remember the names, but there's that guy, the officer asked for his like license and registration. He went to go reach in his pocket because most normal human beings keep their wallet in their pocket. And the police officer shot him point blank.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like they're looking for a reason to kill you instead of like to help you. They're looking for a reason to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question for you. Do you feel like, you know, a lot of people like to, you know, blame this administration for kind of encouraging this kind of behavior? Like prime example, remember in Charlottesville when the white radical group came out and Trump refused to condemn them. He was like, you know, like I see both sides. Do you feel like this administration kind of brought out those people that were secretly in the backwoods and now they kind of have like a supporter because like he doesn't necessarily condemn their actions?
Yeah, I think so. It's just a comfort level that I don't even know how to describe these people. They're just I just always picture like redneck-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say like this administration has made it more comfortable for these type of people to do these actions because you know Trump's very pro-military, pro-blue police, which is cool. But there's always going to be cons in that. They get too comfortable. It's like, yeah, you can have. It's cool to have a president support your work, but don't get too like comfortable with things. You have to like, yeah, and like Trump's never like let's say Obama or Bush. I feel like they would be more extremely like passionate about like social issues. Yeah, Trump lacks that.
Yeah.
He'll send out a couple tweets and call it a day. But yeah, I mean, definitely like made it more comfortable for this type of action. Let's see. Yeah, I think do you think that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that because it's like back to like his Twitter post last night, like about the thugs. It was like, okay, like you can speak out on that, but you couldn't speak out like in Charlottesville, and the white radical members were out there, with their pitchforks and like all that stuff. It's just like, what's the big difference? It's like,
Yeah.
why can't you speak on both?
I mean, I think he did send one, but it wasn't like, I think he did send like some tweet about Charlottesville, but it wasn't like, oh, this is bad. It was like, oh, this is whack. And, it's like, oh, y'all shouldn't be doing this, next. Like, so, yeah, I mean, I feel like this is like just the lack of his presidentialness, which is expected. I feel like Obama or Bush I feel like they would be visiting Minneapolis for like a couple of days. But I don't think Trump's making any Minnesota visits anytime soon.
He'd probably get capped if he landed in Minnesota.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just the personality of these presidents. Because people like to identify with presidents. They like to sit through them in a weird way. And it's like, oh, if he supports this, then it's 100% good, and yeah, that goes for every prez. Yeah, this is getting a little spicy now. All types of videos coming out.
And it's in the middle of a pandemic. Like,
yeah,
people are protesting in the middle of like a pandemic. So I'm just like, oh gosh.
Yeah, it's about to get a little wild out here. Everybody's gonna have videos. Yeah, it's gonna get some early 90s LA riots vibes.
Rodney King. Yeah, that's literally what I thought.
It's kind of, I mean, so the thing about it, we've had 2 in a month of like straight up, that's wrong video.
Right.
Like 100%, like that's not cool. Like that's not legal. With the whole like, other, like the 2 of these were absolute. It wasn't like the Trayvons or there's a couple where it was like, oh, this could have happened. There was no video, there's no surveillance, so we don't know absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like these
there's
are no of like straight up right and wrong things.
There's no like speculation. There's no like. Well, also what bothers me is like when something like this happens, like George Floyd. It's like, well, what did he do to like provoke that officer? It's like we've watched the whole video. Like he came out of his car, they put him in cuffs, they walked him back to the squad car, they placed him on the ground, and basically he just put his knee right in that man's neck. And I've heard people talking about, he said he can't breathe, so obviously he can breathe, that he can talk. And I'm just like, are y'all really making up this narrative right now?
That's weird. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a weird. Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy rest of the year. I don't think it's gonna stop. I mean, everything's gonna be even more hyper sensitive. So, yeah, it's gonna be kind of crazy here. I feel like, let's see, maybe. I'm trying to figure things out. What am I trying to say? Maybe camera or having cameras inside the car, or like just no, that doesn't even work. Never mind. Let me just stop. Do you think racism happens? Like, I think it happens, but like outside the U.S. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's one. But it's kind of like people kind of don't think that. People are like, oh, look at Canada, look at Mexico, look at. I think it's just everywhere.
No, like what people don't realize is like, obviously there's exceptions. Like there are a lot of Hispanic people that think they are white, so they dislike black people just as much as some white people do.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with one of my good friends. He's family's Hispanic. He was like, my parents love you, but like if I brought home a Hispanic girl, like they'd be a black girl, because he's Hispanic, they'd be very upset. They don't view that as like right stuff. Also, like I said earlier, China, they're very racist. Like there are several other countries around the world that have that same belief. Like darker skin is not beautiful, it's not good. Like get rid of it. It's trash. It's thuggish. Like if people truly think it's only an American thing, I feel sorry.
Yeah.
Or a prime example, in Europe, I was in Berlin and I got on the train, Germany, like certain parts of Germany, there's not a lot of, black people there. So like I was the darkest person there. Like and like just being on the train station, they were looking at me like I was like a foreign animal. Like all eyeballs were on me and I was just like, have y'all never seen a black person before?
Yeah. Man. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Do you think it's maybe just the more of there, okay, let's see. The more of something there is, like, let's say Mexico, obviously it's like full 90% of just like Mexican, they see people that are not like them, and then they just look down on them. I think it's just maybe it's just as simple as that. Like
I do think it's just as simple as that, but it's also like
it's like a territory thing. It's weird.
Yeah, like now that like here in America, like like segregation ended in like 1964, if I'm correct. And now people of color are starting to educate themselves more and give themselves more opportunities, which means like white people have less opportunities because it's becoming a more competitive society. So like now the way that they discriminate, besides like right now, like is by economics. It's like, a lot of like white America is just twice as rich as black America. So it's just like, okay, like we're going to move in places where y'all can't afford. And now some of these African Americans are becoming successful and affording it. Like they don't like that. They don't like them being successful. So like, it's always a new loophole to find a way to put somebody down.
Yeah, I think it's just more polarizing here in the U.S. too, just because like we had a whole war over it, and maybe because the U.S. is kind of a melting pot. Like, would you say that U.S. is like a top 5 country of just like we have everyone?
Yeah, because like we have everybody because we, number one, we're the American dream. Like, like there's still a lot of opportunities here to be had. A lot of people literally suffer to get here so they can make a little bit of themselves.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Does any other country have 3 groups of at least 15%? That's big. Like,
right.
I know, like I know the countries like U.S. is like 15% black, something 60-ish, 60-70% or 65-ish% white, 25 Hispanic. I'm really just estimating right now.
Right.
But
off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't know enough to like speak on like the population, but like if I were to guess, I would probably say like no, because like I think like like Asia, I'm like okay, like where are all the people groups at? Like Europe, like I just think of like white people, like
mm-hmm.
like I don't know if they would at least have 15%, but like here, we have like religious freedom in the First Amendment. We have like you get to pursue whatever you want if you can afford it, basically. Like
Mm-hmm.
the government really doesn't tell us what to do whenever like it comes to like jobs. They don't really like control us. So like we just have a lot more freedom than other countries do.
Yeah. And to make it worse, I mean, we are very tiny of a country compared to like China,
Other
Canada.
yeah.
Not that big. Like, so it's like, all that to say, we just have so many views of everyone. And so it's almost like expected, sadly, that we're gonna have like feuds of just clashes and yeah, it's the one you say is kind of big part of that.
Yeah, I think like for me, like when I think about like George Floyd or anything, it's just like why can't you just talk to why number one, why do you think that you are above somebody else just because of the color of your skin? Number
Mm-hmm.
two, why can't you just talk to a fellow human being like they're a fellow human being and stop talking to them like they're animalistic, like they're a dog? And like lastly, it's just like I'm no perfect human being. I sin, I have a whole lot of flaws, but I
Yeah.
always try to be considerate and think about like, all right, if I know this would upset me or this would make me feel some type of way, why would I do that to somebody else? But like we don't
Yeah.
think about it anymore because like we're very materialistic, individualistic. It's all about me. But it's like, as a police officer, like your duty is to like serve and protect others and be fortunate enough to go home to your family at the end of the day. So why don't you want somebody else to go home to their family at the end of
I don't know.
the day?
Like, yeah.
And how can you sleep with a conscience knowing that you murdered somebody?
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't. So
No.
yes. Yeah. It's a wild world out there. What the hell? Oh,
What happened? They
this,
ride they riding out there in the streets.
they are. No, I just saw a pickup truck. I just saw this like really tall looking dude just standing on the end of the F-150,
Yeah.
just looking. Okay.
He looking. He said
I have no idea.
where they protesting at today? I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know.
pull up.
There's always a couple trucks filled with just junk, and they always like look at our trash and recycle. You know, they're just trying to like not steal, but like borrow things
Well, you
for
cannot borrow
themselves.
something. You don't borrow something out of trash can.
But I get it. I like the efficiency. Um, uh, yeah. I mean, I don't. What else is there to say about this? You have any comments last second?
Nah, man. I feel like we covered it all.
um, yeah. Yeah. It's really hard to like, not hard, but just like being on social like Twitter because it's everywhere you go, like on social media now, which is good. But like, yeah, it's hard. Seeing that video over and over, it's like, it's good, but tough to compartmentalize, whatever. Um, what else? I think that's it. Um, let's see.
Oh, hold on. I saw a good question I wanted to ask you. Let me find it right quick.
I will answer. Yeah. I like how the next topic. Oh man, everything is about racism this week. Ugh. Ugh. I was gonna ask about Biden. Oh my god.
Oh, we'll talk about that next. Don't get me started. Okay. Here's my question. It says, imagine the world today if there's no social media. Is it better or worse, and why?
It's worse because we can't see everything. It's more aware. It's better for like social issues, duh, like for sure. And yeah, I think it's better for social issues, especially. The only time it gets worse is when it gets like
Malicious. Like how it kind of is now.
huh?
Like when it kind of gets like malicious, like it kind of is now. It's like social media is being used like as a hateful platform at the current moment because of all the events.
Mm-hmm. I guess that side of it, but it's just more awareness from it. So, what did you think? That's a simple question.
I agree. I do think it gets worse because now we are able to put a name. We're able to like these basketball players say, like put an address on it, like put a name on it, put a face on it.
Yeah.
I do think it's worse because I think now people don't really know how to deal with their own personal problems, so they just blur it out and vomit on social media, and I don't think that's very healthy in general. But I understand why people do that because they may not have the support at home. However, I do think if we didn't have social media, we would never know about a Trayvon Martin, a George Floyd, like all these like issues and all these things that our parents' generation didn't get to see. Could you imagine if they had social media?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Like, because our parents grew up like right during the segregation era. Could you imagine if social media was present during the segregation era?
Mm-hmm. It's been wild. I mean, that's like with any era. Like just
they would have been like, "Hey, pull up at this place," because they talking about blacks can't enter here, and they would have burned it or something.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like my mom, she used to tell me, as a girl, they still had segregation, obviously. So like the way the theater worked was the whites could sit on the bottom level, and the blacks had to sit up top in the balcony. And she said that they would be like so petty to the whites because like racism was still prevalent. They couldn't like sit at the bottom, and they would throw popcorn and juice on the white people and like stuff like that. Like how like petty it was. It's like how bad it was.
Yeah. Definitely social media back then would have evolved this process. I mean, back to the saying of like everything's just being recorded now. So it's like you already know, like with the situation, every white cop who pulls up on a black person is hypersensitive. It's just like all for like just all crazy, which is good. I mean, it's how it should be. I feel like I saw Chris Rock. I mean, Chris Rock, that joke of like pilots can't just like crash an airplane and be okay.
I understand. It was like it was
There's some
he was like basically he was like some jobs lack more attention to details than others. He was like, you can't be American Airlines and be like, most of my pilots can land the plane. Like it's like no, like that's not how it works.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. It's the police academy. Okay, so is it easy to get into because there's is it easy because this whole supply demand thing? I feel like a lot more people would want to be like pilots than like police officers. I feel like police officers, not many people want to be.
Right, because of number one, the reputation that they have at the current moment. Number two, like your life is pretty much in danger every day. It's like survival of the fittest type thing. And three, like it's just hostile, and it's draining because you basically have to be on your P's and Q's and on your tiptoes your whole entire shift. Because if you slip up one time, you could be like, oh, I'm just like on a regular traffic stop, and you just like get out your car, and then they be like, pop, pop, you're dead. You know, you have to always be on high alert. Just a stressful job.
Yep. But I think that's why it's easier to be a police officer, because it's so like demand, or you know what I'm saying, like there's not many people out there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that want to be a police officer.
So I was like, oh, you're interested? All right, ride in the cop car tonight, you know. I mean, you were in a cop car for a night.
I went on a ride.
I couldn't do anything. You had no business being in a cop car.
No, I was just curious, like, because I'm always one of those people, you know, I like both perspectives, both point of view. So I was just like, you know, like, let me as an African-American male go on a ride along with one of my good friends who's a white cop. And I drove to Fort Worth at 3 o'clock in the morning because his shift started at 4. That was the worst. And I literally just sat in the passenger seat all day and did like what he did, like everywhere we went. Like our first call, I remember it was a guy who was like, he had to be drunk or high in Walmart. And he was just like chilling. And I remember Trey, who was my police officer friend, he went over and the guy had his hands in his pocket. So first, you know, like they have a saying like hands kill people. So they made him like identify his hands. And then he was like, and he wasn't speaking a lick of English. Like he was speaking straight Ebonics. Yeah. And so like they asked him to leave. He was parked in a handicap spot and didn't have a handicap sticker. So Trey had to write him a ticket because he was not like obliging with like authority. And then we went on about our business. We got breakfast and then I forgot what the second call was. And then anyway, second call happened. And then we got a random call that there was a shovel in the middle of the freeway. So we had to go get the shovel out the middle of the freeway. And then one call, there was like a feud between like a 16-year-old kid and his mom, and it was like a straight like trap house. Like you knew like some stuff was going down up in there, and like this little boy, he was like crying, so we had to put him like in the back of the police car. We talked to his mom. His mom was awful. She was like, "No, y'all need to take that kid somewhere. I don't want him. I don't want him." Like he is so bad. Like, I mean, he had behavior issues, but like his mom definitely didn't help.
How old was this kid?
This kid had to be like at least between 14 to 16.
Oh, wow. Dang. I thought you were like saying 6 or 7. I was like, dang, 14 to 16, that's a grown dude almost.
Yeah. So she was just like, no, y'all need to take him to like rehab or like something like that. And like, he was like kind of getting like in Trey's face. He was like, she lying. And Trey was like, go sit down. And like it was just, I thought he was gonna take off running. I was ready to chase after him. I was like, I want to be the little hero of the day, you know, a little black man chases down a little white kid. I was waiting on my shining moment, but it didn't happen.
Wait, was this a white mom and kid?
Yep.
Interesting. In this ride along you did, was there one moment where your heart like sank because you kind of got scared a little bit?
Definitely. Oh, I forgot. I remember the second call now. It was a domestic dispute. There were 2 domestic disputes.
Oh, you heard domestic and you were like, oof.
I was like, I don't know about this. And so like, and this Trey he told me, he's like, you can get out the car, but you cannot get in front of me. You have to stay behind me at all times. And so the first domestic call was between here we go. It's between a black male and a white female. And I was like, oh, here we go again. But anyways, so it was actually between the 2 sisters, but the black guy was like packing up the car and like also stuff. So Trey went in. I didn't want to go inside this house because I was like, I don't know. But the lady was naked. So he was like, could you put on some clothes? And like they were like talking and they hashed it out. Then the next call, it was another domestic. There were 2 domestics. I remember now. It was a husband. He thought that his wife was cheating on him, and so he became insecure and he like locked the wife out the house because they had like a child. He's like, he's cheating. So Trey goes up to the door to talk to the husband and be like, will you let your like wife back in? He slams the door in Trey's face. And Trey was triggered. I saw him like trying to
Oh,
learn. He was pissed, and so like we had to like help that, but he would not let this lady. He's like, she can sit in the garage, she can have the juice in the fridge, but she's not allowed up in here.
juice in the fridge.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was an insecure male. I did not like him.
dang.
But yes, my heart. Anytime there's a domestic call, my heart automatically sinks.
Wow. Were you riding in like the shotgun seat? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I was not gonna be the. What kind of dumb question is that? I was not gonna be the token black
No,
dude in
that's
the back of
funny.
the squad car.
That's funny. For a second, I don't know why, but I thought you were in the back of the police car, just riding. um, yeah, nah.
It does not. It does not look fun back there. It's like a metal like seat, like a metal bar, and it looks very tight. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Um, let's see. Is that it from that night? You only went once, right?
Yeah, because first of all, I got there and his like boss, whatever you want to call him, he made me go to Walmart and buy khaki pants because you have to wear khaki pants. Because I had on shorts, he was like, "You can't do that." And then he realized I have like my license to carry. He was like,
Mm.
"Joshua, like, do you have your CDL?" I was like, "Yes." He's like, "Do you have your gun on you right now?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Good." He's like, "Can I check?" And I was like, "Bruh." I looked up my. I was like,
Did Trey not tell you like to wear khakis?
he didn't think it was a big deal, but
Oh, yes, it was.
I guess it was. It was uncomfortable that whole shift.
Should you should go on another one.
I do want to go on another one.
Mm. Should go. Yeah.
I should go on a Houston one because I feel like that would be more wild.
Oh
Because
yeah.
these people out here are crazy.
Because Trey's in like the Fort Worth area.
Mm-hmm.
You know where in Fort Worth, or like
So
is it straight up?
I think he patrols South Fort Worth. He rotates between North Fort Worth and South Fort Worth.
South Fort Worth.
And he says South Fort Worth is not the greatest area.
Mm-hmm. I think their like Oak Cliff is called Stop Six.
Stop sticks. That's
Yeah,
so fit.
that's what it is. I just heard about that.
That's so fit.
At first, I was like, "That sounds like a train stop," but yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like a stop on Fortnite. Where we meeting, boys? Stop.
Might be. What else?
Do people still play Fortnite?
Yeah, for like memories of like back then. Well, it's not like as it hasn't. I mean, it's done peaking. It's like it's still relevant. I mean, it's still like a thing.
It's still constant, but it's not on the rise, and it's not on.
Yeah, it's not on the rise anymore. It's like barely declining. I mean, the Travis Scott thing like really kind of brought up a little bit back. But yeah, I know this happened last week. But what do you think of the Biden stuff? You ain't black, you vote Democrat. But I mean, I don't. I don't know, man.
I watched the interview. Why? Why did you have to go? Number one, you're a Democrat. You're more than likely going to get the majority of the black vote.
Yeah.
So why do you have to go out of your way to say something like that to potentially mess up what you got going on? Like it didn't make any sense to me. And it's like that's not fair because it's like, all right, if you're gonna say that, then you gotta say like, if you thinking about voting between Trump or me, like you ain't white because like you're Republican, like because most white people are Republican. So it's just like, why? Like he really fumbled the bat.
Yeah, it's one of those things everyone knows.
Keep to yourself.
Don't say it.
Right.
Cause like, people were kind of responding to that like, oh, this is like the worst thing ever. But I'm still voting for Biden. Like, it's like that's what like people were saying. It was just unnecessary. But one thing I will say, I'm glad Charlemagne got that interview. I love Charlemagne's interviews. I mean, it's kind of why like Joe Budden, they keep it straight to the point. They go straight to the point. But yeah, Joe Biden was like, yeah, he was saying like weird things. His cadence was weird. Did you like notice that? Like,
but why he come approach the screen like that? You ain't.
Yeah. It was just like, wow. Like
His delivery is an F. An F.
Like he's got to know like Fox News will take that clip and like drown it. Like, well, they're gonna use that clip forever.
Like the saying, give somebody an inch and they run a mile with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're gonna do.
That clip's gonna be in the Fox News history book. Yeah, definitely.
But Trump's gonna use it at the debate.
Exactly. You can't give Trump any ammo. he's gonna use that crazy. That's gonna be his conclusion sentence, like every debate. Like, yeah, it's pretty wild. But with everything going on right now, there's a theory of Biden definitely picking a black female as a vice president.
I've thought about that too. I always thought he was going to choose a female, but now I definitely think he's going to choose a black female. And
the streets are saying rumblings of Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Cool. The other lady was
Stacey Abrams.
No, not. It was like just straight up female. It started with the K. Kobalovsky.
Oh, she's the I think senator from Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it starts with a K.
That would be fitting, actually.
Yeah. I saw it was like she was one of the favorites, but with all this mess going on the past couple weeks, I mean, I would not blame to have Kamala. Because, like, I'm just looking at this from a strategic standpoint because, like, that's something Republicans aren't, like, fond of. So it's like, this is y'all's time to shine. Like,
right.
This is y'all's, like, role. Like, this is y'all's thing. And so it's like, hop on that. Like, get that trend.
Because the last time I think the Republicans had, like, a woman, like, running for vice president was, like, when John McCain chose Sarah Palin.
Oh, yeah.
And we know how that worked out.
Yeah. I think that was, like, trying to get or a little progressive on their side, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, so that happened like last week at the time. Yeah, it was actually after our last episode. I got on YouTube. I was like, Charlemagne's interviewing Joe Biden. It's like, when did this happen? But I would love to see like Trump at the Breakfast Club interview thing with Charlemagne.
Charlemagne you'd have a field day with him.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be must watch TV. But yeah, I bet like Kamala would be the vice president. You might know something about this. I don't know, but I feel like there's something that's being created that no one's talking about right now. The whole Trump social media bill situation. Have you seen any of this? Like,
I briefly heard of it.
I have no idea what it is, but I feel like it's important, and I feel like it's kind of like really important actually, because it's like a free speech platform. It's really, I think it's like cracking down on like fake news, but like what's really fake news. So it's just.
You talking about the whole like how he's like upset that Twitter fact checks him?
I think so.
Yeah, so like now he's like trying to make like a what do they call it? Oh, executive order about like, free speech on social media. It can't
There
be
we go. Which I feel like that's really important. that no one's really kind of speaking on. Am I
And
wrong? Right?
which way do you sway? I have no
I
problem
don't.
with. I don't have no problem with Twitter fact checking us because, like, at the end of the day, you're putting out information there. Like, you need to put out true information.
Yeah. Fact checking. What do you mean? Like we tweet something, and if it's not right, it gets deleted or something?
No, it gets fact checked. Like, it's like, hey, like in this tweet, like a prime example, if I was to say like Joshua Barnes is 29 years old, and they like fact check and be like, false. He was born in 1997. He's 23 years old. Like, fact check. It's like,
There'd be so much goofiness too on that side, but the serious side, interesting. I mean, yeah, I mean it's good, but I feel like I wanna read the tiny details, the small print, you know. Um, let's see what else. Since we're just on the racism train here,
podcast today, racism.
this is whatever. I saw this today or like this past week. This always happens to every celebrity ever. I don't know, it shouldn't, but I feel like it'll die out in the next 10, 20 years. There's always a celebrity that people find old clips of them doing blackface.
Yeah.
This past week was it was Jimmy Fallon. I didn't read into I feel like this happens to him every year. I think he did it for a skit.
Mhm.
But like why was that ever a thing?
That's terrible just to begin with.
That's what I think about that every time.
Like, who was posted up and was like, hey, let's put on this blackface mask. Yeah, let's go. Like,
that's what I think. I'm like, who said, yeah, literally paint your face black or body black? I don't know. There was that movie. I'm horrible at movies. The Robert Downey. Was it Tropic? Oh, I'm gonna get Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, yes.
So Robert Downey had like blackface.
Yeah.
But like it was okay, apparently.
Right.
I don't know why it was okay. I don't know literally any details of this movie. Do you know anything about?
No, because I heard somebody bring it up the other day, but I've never seen the movie, to be honest, so I can't speak on it.
Because I think they actually asked Robert Downey this, like, would this movie be okay now? And he was like, I don't think so. I think it's just our generation thing. We just kind of judge other generations. I'm sure like the next generation, they're gonna be judging us on some things we just don't know right now. Yeah, it's a very, but yeah, it's just like, just look at blackface. I'm like, this is just a weird concept that I don't know why it was a thing. But yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon. It was on Twitter for like 3 hours, but yeah, I don't know. Let's see. You got anything pressing?
Let's see. Nothing's big's happening in the sports world, really, besides like baseball fighting over like pay.
Yeah, I saw that. Saw something where like Colin Murray made the right decision.
Yeah. Nothing really. I saw like the NBA is supposed to like possibly come back like late July, early August. Oh, what's your thoughts on the whole reseeding instead of doing East West going 1-16?
I don't think it's gonna happen this year, but like, well, I think it's like a thing they've always wanted to do.
Right.
So I could actually see them doing that this year if any of this goes through, because especially since everyone's gonna be 1-2 locations, it's a perfect time to just be like,
experiment.
What happens? NBA is not happening. I literally keep telling, it's not happening. Do you think it's actually gonna happen?
I think it's gonna happen later in the summer. They're too invested in the season. There's too much good basketball to be played. Like
True.
even if they reseed, I feel bad for the Raptors because they have to face LeBron in the second round, and RIP them. But like the possible conference finals would be the second round would be Lakers Raptors, but the conference final, the semifinals of this would be Bucks Celtics Lakers Clippers. If you put it in like the 1-16 form right now, yes.
Wait, you said Lakers Clippers
In the
Bucks.
semi Celtics.
Oh, okay. It'd literally just be West or East again. Do you know who the Mavs would play?
The Clippers in the first round, so rest in peace.
Again, still?
Yes.
What? Either way, we have to play the Clippers? Golly. Yeah, we're out.
I'll give y'all 6 games.
I mean, if there is like this weird thing, this playoffs, there's gonna be so many weird results. I feel like I don't think the Clippers or Celtics will make the. No, the Celtics would definitely not make it, just because of the rust and like just the weirdness of this season. I feel like there'd be some weird matchups going on. But I'm just like, man, it's gonna be a weird playoffs. The way they're like talking about it, it's like it almost feels like a camp, like summer camp in Orlando, playing basketball every day, AAU style.
The Nuggets in the second round would have to face the Bucks.
Weird. But yeah, the whole reseeding in general, I feel like they would do it just because they want to do it in the future very soon. Mm-hmm. It's something they've always talked about. But do you like the reseeding?
Actually, I'm against it. I feel like it makes teams pass. Teams that have earned the right, because number one, there's only 13 teams in the NBA currently above 500. But I think the teams that have earned the right to have the best record, you make their paths a little harder.
The teams with the best record, it makes their paths a little harder?
Yes, because like think about it. So like right now, the Lakers would face Memphis, and then they'd face the winner of the Jazz versus Oklahoma City if they played West-West. But if they do the reseeding, they still play Memphis the first round, and then they would play the Raptors and then the Clippers, and then have to face the Bucks. I feel like that's kind of unfair.
They play the Raptors in the second round. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
They would have to go through the Raptors second round, the Clippers potentially in the conference final, and then beat the Bucks, possibly in the NBA Finals, compared to beating Memphis, the Jazz/Rockets, the Clippers, and then the Bucks.
Yeah, that's true. I think it would make for tougher second round matchups.
Right.
Lakers would have a field day with the Magic in the first round.
They would play. No, the Magic would be with the Bucks. They would play
the Nets.
Yes, they would. They play the Nets.
That'd be so funny if like Kevin came back.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think of Dame Lillard comments?
Man, I don't want to hear nothing about Dame.
I don't care. Like that's the thing. Yeah. Like such a non-story.
But also, they've also talked about, what's your opinion on this? They're talking about doing like a FIFA World Cup style of playoffs where, like they put 4 teams in 4 groups. Each group plays each other once. Then the top 2 teams of the group advance to the knockout stage. And so you go round of 16, and it's a 1-game elimination all the way to the championship.
No, not the 1 game. Yeah, the 1-game elimination, no. But I see. Yeah, first let's just do the reseeding first before we do all of that. I mean, I'm like, I used the whole reseeding thing. The only thing I'm worried about is the whole tradition of it. You know, the East, the West. I like it, you know, but I get it. They want to, you know, to make it more popular. I think they should just try to evolve because I know they're trying to be like soccer. Because I think basketball has a potential to be like not as big as soccer, but getting there because it's such a like cheapish sport, which is how, you know, it's easily accessible. And it's more like worldwide. Like NFL, no one cares about it outside the US, not much. But like basketball is it's a friendly sport. People like it. So I think they should, because I know they've been kind of looking at soccer because, you know, the whole in-season tournament idea thing. Remember that idea? So I get what they're trying to do. So it's just going to be super progressive in the next 10 years. Especially with, I don't know, the end of when Braun goes out. About to get super creative. Yeah, that's about it for basketball. Wait, so is Dame Lillard? Are the Blazers even in the playoffs?
No, that's why he's making.
Oh, good. Oh, okay. He's mad because he doesn't want to play in the meaningless games.
But this is the same dude that complained right before the lockout. He was like, the Trailblazers had lost like on a very controversial because he's like, we're in the middle of the playoff run, like we're trying to make the playoffs. It's like, okay, if they give you those 20 games back, you're not going to play because they're meaningless. Whenever you're like, you're not that far out of playoff contention. It's just like you got to play better.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like 5 games, right? It's like 5 regular season games, and then yeah, really just I don't even know how far back they are. But if they're like 1 game back, then maybe. But I get what he's saying. If they're like just not even sniffing the playoffs, then yeah, I wouldn't want to play either. Let's see. What else? Oh, like this whole week, I was like overthinking so much about. Yeah, we're about to end, but yeah, I was overthinking about so much about this class situation. I was going to take 9 hours this summer. Like two of those 3 classes were going to be all of June, and then that third class is half because the third class is June and July. So I was going to take like 7.5 hours in June itself, and like the dean the dean emailed me, was like, I don't think you should do it, blah blah blah. Especially because one of the classes is a class I took in the past spring, but I made an okay grade, but I was like, I could make a better grade. So yeah, I overthink about silly things. So I eliminated that class. I'm out of there. So it's just like I can do it. You know, it's like, but like sometimes you shouldn't push yourself. But I don't know. My mind is good at like, yo, this is too much for you. We're gonna make you sad until you remove this class. You know that. So
are you?
My mind is good.
Are you just gonna take that class in the fall?
I'm just not gonna take it then, since I already technically took it. We'll see.
Well, you just so you're solely only taking it just to make a better grade, even though you made a passing grade. You just want to do better.
Yeah, but
why?
Dean made a good point of you don't want that to affect your other 2 classes. You know.
Right.
But then I brought the point, because this is my I just overthink because I have great points myself, but they also have great points. I'm fighting with myself. That's why, because both of my sides are have great points. But because the third class, I was gonna have the mentality of, okay, I'm not going to try. I'm just going to just take the exams. You know, they're all lotteries to me. All the exams, they're just like, if I get an A, hey. If I get a D, hey. That's just like how it is. So I was gonna be like, okay, if I am doing horrible or the same halfway through the class, then I was just gonna drop it right then and there, and then focus on the 2 classes that I have to do good at. But then I was just like, just don't worry about it, because like I'm just worried about like I'm not in any horrible academic trouble, but I'm not in any great shape. But I'm in that like middle part where I'm like, let's see.
Hey,
I'm flirting with it.
You're in that George Bush C's get degrees category.
That what?
That George Bush C's get degrees
Oh
category.
yeah. So I'm flirting with it. I just want to be 100% sure. But colleges are very understanding. They're understanding if you're not up to a certain point. Now, if I'm like to straight up D's, yeah, they'll kick me out. But like, I'm not doing that. So it's like I gotta flirt with this middle line, which I'm good at. So yeah, I'm just like doing away with that class and just I'm just glad that the dean, like the big man, like the dude knows I was trying to be assertive. So that's good. It just shows him in a weird way. So yeah, so that's what I've been thinking about the last 96 hours. But yeah, all right, last second topic.
We in a whole pandemic and got racism going on. Yo, we are overthinking classes. What is wrong?
Yep.
What is wrong with you?
I'm not gonna overthink about racism. I just know it's wrong. So, oh my gosh, it's just things I just see that I'm not wanting to see that racism is bad 1,000 times. I know I read it the first time. Whatever. I'm tired. What? Last second comments. Travis Scott released some song and he speaks Spanish in it. Thought that was interesting. Let's see. He's a feature though.
Shout out to John Stevenson. He become a political activist all over.
Oh really?
All over Twitter. He edited Donald Trump and called him a coward.
Wait, what?
he edited Donald Trump on Twitter and called him a coward.
That's hilarious. See, that's a tough line. The whole like activism route. Okay, let's see. Okay.
Are you gonna explain? You just
no,
quiet,
I'm scared to talk about it. I'm scared to talk about it because it's like
your FBI agents watching. Your FBI agents watching you.
Yeah, like the 6 people that watch this podcast. Okay. I've seen this like 8 to 10 times. Where a white person will type out some essay of like, this is bad, I can jog, but black people can't jog. And then I see like 3-4 comments of like, wow, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for explaining your white privilege. Okay. Do like people see white people making a stance that like should be normal, should be a fact, and do other races find that thank you for accepting your role? And
I think for me personally, I don't want a white person to be sorry about who they were born, like they were born white, like you cannot control that. I think it's refreshing to me to see more white people nowadays admit and accept they have privilege based on the color of their skin. However, they're not going to let that affect how they treat other people, and they're going to stand with other minority groups that don't have that same voice and same power as they do because of their skin color.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's a little cringy when people are like, do you want me to apologize for my ancestors? Like, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm not asking you to do that, Karen. But I just think if you see some injustice going on while you're outside in public or something, I feel like you're just as guilty if you don't do anything to stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's all. Like, if your friend, if you were like, if your friends, or if you saw your friend, let's say I made a post saying white privilege, blah, 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 and you commented saying, oh, wow, thank you. I'm like, you should know this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah, I get.
It's a bad thought to have.
I feel like it's almost gotten redundant of like white people like explaining like the white privilege. Just like, we get it. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Because what is this video gonna do for me, or what is this post gonna do?
Exactly. It's the whole. Have you ever heard this term, the white savior term?
Yes.
So it's kind of like that a little bit. So yeah, that's all. I don't. You know what I'm trying to say. It's.
Yes.
I don't even like to make deep posts on social media in general.
Same.
Because it's not real life.
Like, literally, social media is another life and world of itself.
Yes. I don't know. Like, this is just personal stuff. Like, I don't have any acquaintances or friends where I judge like that are racist, like one bit. You know, so it's like, I mean, it's definitely a different perspective for me. But yeah, it's just, you shouldn't be surprised that your friends are not racist. Boom. Like, right?
Right. I think, okay, so like, I agree with you, but also like, the same people that you can consider your friends, sometimes they will surprise you the most, because you'd be like, wait, what'd you just say? Like, prime example, like, you remember where were we? You went to Boston, yeah, in Boston, in that lady's house, Alcott, the lady.
Yeah.
And okay, so basically, for the people that don't know, so we went to Boston for our fall break in 2017, and we went to go visit this famous lady's house. And the tour lady is giving us like a tour of the room, and a black girl behind me asked about a slave picture to the left of us. And so she explains it very well, thorough explanation. And then she's like, okay, like, move into this room. So I'm in front, and this black girl's behind me. And as I'm passing, this lady is like, wow, it's so good to see you. We don't see many blacks here. And I like look back, and Shiloh was like right in front, and I was like, did you hear what she just said? And then the lady behind me, she was also black. She was like, oh wow, we don't see that hairstyle up here. And I was just like, it's so like cringy. Like, you wouldn't expect that from a tour guide, but it's just like, the point is like, your friends can have that same belief, they just will not express that to you.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I've seen all types of posts on this thing, and it happens every time. I mean, have you seen these posts? Like, some of these are like essays.
Yeah, like, some people, I'm just like, look, go write a book.
I like, whatever I have to press see more on Facebook or a post, I'm not clicking.
I'm out. I'm out.
I don't want to see more.
They need a button that says see less.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't. Gives it like a headache sometimes. Yeah. All right. Last second topic. You know they have OnlyFans, but for guys. All right, let's
Yo,
end this.
No.
Yes. So in OnlyFans, because you know OnlyFans, like majority women, of course, but men are getting into the game, which is crazy.
You thinking about pulling up?
I'm not gonna pull up yet. If it gets desperate times when I'm like 32, you know, I might have to. But it's some crazy act. I've never been on OnlyFans, just for the record. But those stories, huh?
You lie.
No, I am not.
Your guilty pleasures OnlyFans. That's what he wanted to tell the podcast. That's what you wanted to tell the podcast today.
But those guys that are actually like doing whatever you're imagining right now. They're doing that. Yes. Whatever you're imagining right now. Every crevice, action, simp thing, but they're getting paid for it.
Simp? Oh, no, I'm out.
Wait, what?
Did you say simp?
Soap? I said simp. Simple.
Yeah, simp. Yeah, no, I'm out. Like, just
No,
that
I said
thought.
simple.
Yes, just the thought of them doing the most on OnlyFans.
I don't want to go in detail, but I really don't want to say the word, but like the most generic guy sexual thing, people will pay $1,000 to see it. Like, it's of course girls, well, guys too, and yeah. So I found that out. I was like, wow, people like want to see that. I don't know. This pandemic is just revealing all types of colors.
Literally.
But literally. All right, let's close this out. You got any last second comments?
Man, shout out to summer 2020. We don't know what it's gonna hold, but it's here.
It hasn't even technically started. Let's see. All right, song of the week. You got any bops?
We're gonna honor you this week. Your birthday's coming up. We're gonna play birthday song by 2 Chainz.
Ratchet happy birthday. Ratchet happy birthday. That's your
No, I'm not.
It's your birthday, baby. It's your birthday.
It's your birthday.
Yeah, got to. What song is that? Birthday song? Is that literally what it is?
No, it's happy. Oh, you talking about mine or yours?
Yours.
It's literally called Birthday by 2 Chainz.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, literally 2 Chainz. I'm gonna say Blindfold, like Gunna and Lil Baby. They're like Drake and Lil Wayne, to be honest. They're just like hits after hits after hits.
Do you like Gunna's new album?
Yes, I do. It's a little repetitive, of course, but that's every album. Yeah. What else? All right. Shoutouts. Yeah, shoutouts summer 2020.
Wait. Did you just say Gunna and Lil Baby are like Drake and Wayne?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm surprised I got through to you. I was like, wow, he didn't say anything?
No.
No, it is.
Pandemic's got you.
No, it's 2020. You got to keep up. No,
the pandemic has gotten to you.
No. We haven't heard a Drake Lil Wayne track in so long, so I'm over them. So, yeah, it's all Gunna and Lil Baby. It's the future, the dynamic duo. We're gonna look back 10 years from now and we're like, wow, that duo was nice. Yeah, so this was the Racism Podcast, man. Of course, it had to be black and white host.
This what MLK died for. So
he solved racism now. All right. Yeah, that's about it. Well, thank you for watching, listening. Yeah, got any last second things?
No, Steven Savage made me point in a mountain and said racism ends over there. He lied.
Oh, that's right.
He
All right, shout out him. All right, peace.
See.